tonight. For those of you who are new, I'm Gentry Nixon. I'm the athletic director and assistant principal here at Battle Mountain. The reason for tonight's meeting is we really did want to give parents a chance to hear the high points of Single County Schools COVID protocols for athletics and activities, and our return to play protocols that we're in the process of implementing in the event that an athlete does test positive for COVID-19. So Brooke is going to talk about that. We also want to spend a few minutes here and highlight our mattress fundraiser. And I'm going to have Ryan Lampert talk here in just a second. He is not here live. He's remoting in from Colorado Springs. So those of you in the audience will not actually be able to see him, but you'll have a voice from God coming down. But just to know, the Super Booster mattress fundraiser is a major fundraiser for the Super Boosters, and that is important to Battle Mountain High School because the Super Boosters, they fund all of our athletic uniforms. They are the providers for our athletic uniforms. So fundraising for the Super Boosters is a huge deal. I can tell you, having built a budget around uniforms, we budgeted anywhere from $25,000 to $30,000 a year for athletic uniforms, and that was on a 4-year rotation for all of our teams, which is going on right now as well. So at this point, I'm going to have Ryan unmute and introduce Ryan Lampert, the mattress guy. Brooke, can you advance 2 slides on both of those? And for those of you who don't know, Brooke is doing 4 jobs right now. She's advancing slides, admitting people, working 2 computers. We are recording this meeting, just as a heads up, so it is accessible after today. And then the slideshow will also be linked on our Battle Mountain Athletic website if you want to go back and hit any of the links that we're putting in here for resources and things. So without further ado, Ryan Lampert.
Hello, everybody. Gentry, sound check, check. We good? We good? Good. All right, people at home, we're good. Get some thumbs up. Good evening, everybody. It's Ryan, the mattress guy. A little loud. Sorry, I'll talk a little better. The 3rd annual mattress sale is coming up in just a little less than 2 weeks. Are we doing okay on sound, Gentry? Okay. So for 3rd annual mattress sale, we're working with Battle Mountain High School on September 19th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. inside the cafeteria. Like Gentry mentioned, or Miss Nixon, I apologize. Boosters are responsible for providing athletic uniforms. That's what we're raising money for. Okay. I'm going to be really quick too. I am also a chief fan. All right, next slide.
Gentry, can you mute yours? We're getting some feedback from that.
That might be better. Perfect. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Next slide, please. Just waiting to change on the, there we go. All right. So, I think we went one ahead. There we go. So the day of the mattress sale on September 19th, things are a little bit different in this new environment. We have been doing fundraisers still with all the COVID taking place. Social distancing will be in place when we're inside your school. Our staff will usually try to be super nice and friendly and handshake and introduce ourselves. We'll still introduce ourselves, but no handshaking. Our staff will be wearing the mask. We do ask customers to wear masks. We're not going to regulate that. I think that's going to be up to the school policy, which I'm pretty sure it's going to be required. You guys probably never heard of mattress PPE before, but we have it. Believe it or not, this is actually a COVID safe environment for people to come and try a mattress. So people have bed slips and pillow slips. So if they wanted to, they can put those right on the products to lay on and still try out the mattress. It's not mandatory, but if people would like to do that, that product will be made available. We'll also have disinfectant stations throughout. And then we purchase the UV lights online to help disinfect the mattresses as well. What we're trying to do, everybody, is make a COVID safe environment to help raise money for the super boosters and also providing a service to your community in that safe environment. It's a win-win all the way around for everyone involved. So if we can go to the next slide, please, that'd be great. But just know that we are keeping a COVID safe, friendly environments for people to come in. Our products, okay, so now that we got past that new environment stuff, our products, this is our third year. Some of you may never have heard of this before, but this is a mattress sale. We bring in all different types of styles and sizes. Prices range from $249 on up if you really want to spoil yourself. We bring in adjustable bases. We have pillows, sheets, mattress protectors. Brand new this year is weighted blankets. That's pretty cool, and we have a pretty exciting giveaway, including a weighted blanket, so be on the lookout for that in just a minute. Just like buying in a mattress store, all these products come with a manufacturer warranty. Even the pillow, if there's a problem with the pillow, there's a manufacturer warranty. Everything is going to be shipped directly to your house, so it's contactless. Once again, it's COVID responsible. Now, I say your house, and I always want to lead with this, and I always forget. I'm not asking anyone in this auditorium or on this call to buy a mattress. That's not how this works. What I'm asking you guys to do is help us promote. The more we promote, the more success we'll have. We had a great year last year. A lot of it came from the yard signs and pieces of mail that we put into your community. What I'd really like is to drive the personal referral traffic from this group. Help us promote between now and September 19th to drive traffic. People are out buying a mattress. And if you tell them, hey, you can buy a mattress, support a local high school group, and it's COVID safe, why would they not come? People are actually buying a lot of beds right now, now more than ever. Mattress Firm had probably their best third quarter because people get their mattress. Why not? Because they spend a lot of time in it with staying at home, and they're realizing that, hey, I have a outdated bed and I need a new one. So help us promote. Next slide, please. And then if you have any questions, please put them in the chat, okay? If you have questions in the audience, please raise your hand and they'll address that here. So student incentives, all right? This is a real deal. This is how we get the students to help us out. This is how we get, mom and dad and guardians and aunt and uncles and grandmas and grandpas. For every mattress referral purchase under your student's name, I give your student money in addition to what we give to the super boosters. This is their carrot. This is the incentive to get the students to get up and help us out. So if there's one mattress purchased under your student's name, even if it's mom and dad, or even if the mattress is purchased for that student, I still give them money. All right. 2 mattresses, they get $50. 3 is $100, all the way up to 10. If there are 10 purchases, 10 mattress referrals under student's name, I write a check to that student for $500. So we really need everyone to help us promote, not just the students, but just the parents. Talk to your neighbors, talk to the people that you work with, send out emails, the text, Facebook. There's a Facebook event already up and going that the Super Booster shared. So help your student make money and help the Super Boosters raise money for those new uniforms. Can we get to the next slide, please? Perfect. All right. So to start the promoting right now, if you want to try and win a free weighted blanket, okay, you can text the word Huskies to 484848. Right now, you can get your phones out, text the word Huskies to 484848, and then later tonight, my system will send out a winner, like a congratulations, you won the free weighted blanket. And then we'll have to coordinate on the shipping address, and we'll ship it straight to you. Okay? A free weighted blanket. If you want to get a free weighted blanket, just get your phone out right now and text 484848.
Ryan, I have a question.
Yes.
So how are the student referrals working since they were not allowed to hand out flyers this year? Do the buyers just need to give the name of an athlete to get that referral?
Yes. So when they send a text to 484848 to say send Huskies, there is a digital flyer in there. Now you can share that on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, MySpace, whatever the latest and greatest is right now. Share that information, send it out an email. As long as we get the student's name right? Because my staff is trained to be like, how'd you hear about the mattress fundraiser? And it's like, oh, my son's on the basketball team. Oh, okay, great. And, we'll write that down. Or my neighbor's daughter is on the volleyball team. Okay, great. Or my niece, whatever the case may be. We'll still track that. You can send out this text. You can share the Facebook event. The Facebook event is in the text reply. You can send out emails. Make sure you share it on Facebook. You just need to blow it up. The Mattress Circus is coming back to Edwards on September 19th. Okay, so we just really need to invite people and help us promote. Okay, does that answer the question? Perfect. Any other questions? Because, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got. This is our 3rd year working with your school. It's my 4th year working with your athletic director, and we have been very successful. People are buying mattresses. This is a fundraiser to help raise money for the Super Boosters to get new uniforms and also get money in your students' pocket. All right. We set everything up. We tear everything down. We handle everything the day of the event. The only thing I cannot control is getting people to walk through that door. It's the one thing I can't do. And that's where you guys come into play. I need your help to help us promote. What kind of price deals are these mattresses? Someone just asked that in the chat. What kind of price deals are on these mattresses? Holly, to answer that question, we have every price point. I have a twin that's $249. It might even be down to $189. We have products that are listed online. I don't like to show prices because I want people to come in. Okay, that's just the way the game works. Okay, but when people come in, we pull up the company's website. Here's the company's website pricing, and here's our pricing. And this is usually cheaper, if not a lot cheaper. Okay, so a lot of different prices. We offer financing, cash, check, credit, 12 months, same as cash, lease to own options for folks that have bad credit or no credit. We handle all that. We offer floor model sales. So if people want to take home a floor model that day, which we did quite a bit last year, people can take home a mattress that day. Okay. Everything else will be shipped directly within it could be 2 weeks. It could be 5 weeks. The manufacturers and their staffing, just like everything else that's going on in the world, has been limited. Okay, so turn times are not as fast, but that's just because they're being COVID responsible as well and not having a full staff in the factory. Okay, any other questions? No. I think, yeah.
All right, so spread the word. Let's get people into the cafeteria on the 19th to buy mattresses.
Yep, and I'll send out a congratulation winner for the weighted blanket. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to mute out. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for having us back, and we'll see you in about a couple weeks. Thanks, guys.
Okay, so what we have up on the screen now is the CHASA calendar for this year. For all sports and for speech and debate. So most of you are probably, if you haven't seen this, here we are. I hope we never see anything like this again, to be quite honest, because the thought of all but 2 of our sports running between January 4th and June 26th scares the crap out of me. So, but that's where we are this year. So currently we're running boys golf and cross country. Speech and debate will be starting soon. Season B starts after Christmas, so there is a hiatus, obviously, in October and November. We are still going to be running off-season workouts during that hiatus. CHASA is encouraging those off-season workouts. Our district is encouraging those off-season workouts as well. So starting January 4th, we got basketball, hockey, skiing, and wrestling. All of the seasons have been shortened. The games and races will be limited. Lots of changes as we get into the season are also taking place, like roster sizes are being limited. For cross country, they're limiting race sizes. I don't know if you've ever been to a cross country race, but last year at our home race, by the end of the day, we had close to 1,000 runners, if you count the community race as well. So between the middle schools, the high school, JV, varsity, and the community, we had 1,000 runners on our course. This year, we are limited to 100 runners per day. So we ran a JV race of 50, or a JV race of 50 and a varsity race of, or a JV race of 100 on Friday and a varsity race of 100 on Saturday this past weekend. And that's all we had, 200 runners in 2 days. So our world is very different this year. What will basketball, hockey, skiing, and wrestling look like in January? We don't know yet. The bulletins and the guidelines for those sports-specific events will come out probably 6 weeks prior to the start of the season. So we get more information as we progress. Season C this year is March 1st to May 1st-ish, and the ishes are in there because each sport has a slightly different ending day. So it's going to vary from sport to sport. So please forgive my ishes. Football, boys soccer, and volleyball will be running in season C. Again, limited games. For example, boys soccer, we're limited to 10 games, so we are only playing our league opponents twice. That's all we're doing in soccer. Season D will run April 26th to June 26th. So at this point, most of our coaches of these sports are not planning on a summer because summer is going to be taken over by our sports: baseball, girls golf, boys and girls lacrosse, girls soccer, and track and field. Any questions about the current calendar, either from the virtual world or the auditorium?
Yeah, on the off-season workouts, I missed that part. Is there going to be dryland training for the skiers this fall?
I assume so. They are able to do it, and so there's no reason that they won't start that in November like they normally do.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Thanks.
Gentry, I have a question. So season D will go well into June, obviously, and games will go all the way through to June 26th?
Yes, and possibly beyond if you include the championships.
Okay, thanks.
Yes. The school year ends, graduation is May 29th. I just had to move 4 games off of May 29th because that's a big day for us. And I believe the last day for everyone else is June 3rd-ish, around June 3rd. So another week, give or take. Please don't quote me on the 3rd. It's likely wrong. Yes.
A question was asked online. Are there any other activities such as school plays, fencing, etc. allowed?
Fencing is currently ongoing as we speak. So if you do have somebody interested in fencing, please reach out to Don Watson or me if you need his contact information. We are still planning on having concerts and plays. We don't know exactly what the plays and musicals are going to look like in terms of an audience, but we are planning to live stream if we cannot have an audience. So we're planning to run every activity we can run. Our thought is if it's safe to run athletics, it's safe to run everything else as well. We just have to figure out a way to do it that it is safe for everybody. So the goal is to still have concerts. The goal is still to have plays and musicals and to run all of our clubs and extracurricular activities as well. Good question. Yes. CHASA made the announcement last night that they will not change the 2021 calendar. It was not a popular announcement. Yes.
Can you repeat questions that are asked by the audience?
Absolutely. So that last question that was asked was, is there a chance that CHASA will change this calendar if the COVID rates in Colorado drop? So thank you. I will try to repeat those questions. Okay, moving on. So we're going to talk briefly. So the Eagle County School District COVID-19 protocols is about a 4-page document. Not putting it all up here. It is linked at the end. It's also on our athletic website. And I will make this presentation available on our website as well. So you can actually click on all of those live links and access these documents. But I wanted to hit some of the high points or low points, depending on where you're coming in. And just know that Our protocols are subject to change based on governmental, public, educational, and local health requirements. So what we do have in writing is not necessarily what it's going to look like in January or what it's going to look like in March or in June. So actually, there's a couple of things that we have in here that I truly, truly hope are not still in effect by the time we get to the sports that are inside. So pre-participation, athletes still need to register on Family ID and have a current physical on file with the athletic director in the athletic office. Yes, sir. Good question. So if they're going to do off-season workouts, is that okay if I? Okay, so if they're going to do off-season workouts, do you have to go ahead and go in and register and pay for that season ahead of time? Two-part answer. You do not have to pay until season is in effect. Okay, so the payment, no, you don't have to pay until they're in season. Do you have to register? We are asking, and we put this out about a week and a half ago through the coaches, we are asking all participants actively doing off-season workouts to register on Family ID so that we can ensure we have a physical on file. The importance of that was kind of hit home on Saturday when, in an off-season football workout, a kid injured his hand. And if we did not have a current permission to treat form on file for our athletic trainer, she could not have treated him. So, and then it was an off-season workout. So that is a big reason why we do want participants to go ahead and get registered. We don't require this during the summer because all of those registrations and most of the time their physicals are current through the summer until we hit to the fall. So we're just in some uncharted territory. So yes, coaches should be getting kids signed up and pushing that out as we speak. They're going to get a reminder about that tomorrow. So great question. The other pre-participant requirement, and this is really for kids and for parents, is a commitment to the personal responsibilities of each kid. And that is stay home. Stay home if they're not feeling well, right? Wash their hands, practice their good hygiene. And I have a teenager, that is a challenge. So adhere to the face covering requirements and adhere to social distancing requirements. The kids who are coming to those off-season workouts know what those requirements are. The coaches are doing a really good job of working through the COVID requirements with the kids. They're all working under the same understanding that I am, that at this point in the game, our opinions on masks, our opinions on COVID-19, our opinions on all of this, they don't matter. If we want to play, this is what we got to do. So we can kind of put our opinions aside and do what we have to do to get to do what we want to do. So, and our coaches are doing a fantastic job of keeping the kids motivated to continue wearing the face coverings when they're supposed to. And the social distancing is really hard. They're high school kids. It's probably the hardest thing. Okay, next. All right, coaches' responsibilities. I think it's important for parents to understand what the coaches are required to do. They have to complete a daily symptom tracker for all kids who show up to practice every day. And this is, some of them are doing it paper pencil, some of them are doing it on a Google form. But they have to ask a series of questions to all of their athletes and they have to temperature screen them. We've kind of made the process as simple as possible for the coaches so that it doesn't take an hour out of their practice because it could. But they are responsible for ensuring that all of the kids on the field or in the gym are symptom-free. They have to adhere to the face covering and social distancing requirements themselves, and they have to enforce them. They're also required to frequently throughout practices clean and sanitize equipment. If they're in the weight room, like the weight benches have to be sanitized before and after every use, before and after every kid. There's a dress code in the weight room now. No tank tops, no cutoff shirts, because we're trying to minimize the transfer of sweat as much as possible. And they're really working to hold kids accountable. If a kid shows up to practice without a mask, they send them out. Now they can send them back to the car. If you have a mask in the car, go get it. But if the kid arrives without a mask, he doesn't come to practice. If he comes back and gets his mask and comes back with it, he can come to practice. But it's those things that the coaches are responsible for upholding. And it is a constant battle. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, it's a constant battle for them. Moving on. All right, general requirements. So all participants must arrive to practice or competition wearing a face covering. For indoor activities, masks must be worn at all times. This is a non-negotiable. I hope it becomes a negotiable at some point, but for now it is not. So yesterday, I don't know what day of the week it is, yesterday we had a bunch of boys who wanted to play pickup basketball. And Coach Tronsdrew said, sure, I'll work at this desk here and supervise. They showed up, he temperature screened them, he symptom screened them, they all had their face coverings on, and they're just playing pickup. That's it. It's not a practice. It's just pickup ball. And doesn't matter what they're doing on the court or how hard they're running, they had to wear their masks, and they did. They wore them because they wanted to play. So a lot of our weights are taking place outside, because the kids can drop their mask if they're outside and physically active. So their coaches are working around things as much as they can. Outdoor activities. All non-active participants, coaches, volunteers, and managers must wear a mask throughout practice. This includes athletes not actively participating in drills, practices, and competition. I will tell you, you have never seen athletes want to be participating more. So, before you could go to practice and you see some kids standing around on the sidelines, some kids doing a drill. Now they're all doing something, because if they're not doing something, they got to put on their mask. So their goal is to be active as much as possible. It's kind of fun to watch. We hosted our cross-country meet on Saturday. We were supposed to mandate that all spectators wear a face covering. We announced it many times. I can tell you, we were not successful at mandating this. And in that type of a venue, it's really hard to enforce because we were out at Malloy Park. If we are able to host an event in the stadium, it will be stringently enforced. Spectators will have to wear a face covering the whole time. Things like that. Practices are restricted to essential personnel only, and this is to eliminate potential contact. So our essential personnel, coaches, players, managers, spectators are not allowed at practices. So, typically I leave it up to the coaches. If they want to have a closed practice or an open practice, is up to them. For this year, practices are closed. Social distancing, minimum of 6 feet, must be maintained when not participating in a drill or activity that requires closer contact. I'm not gonna lie, that is the hardest one. The kids will put on a mask, but they'll put on a mask and then hug their neighbor. So I feel like our kids think they're invincible. They do. And for the most part, they're probably pretty close to being invincible. But that is the constant battle, is the social distancing. Questions so far from online or the auditorium? Okay. Next. All right, spectator requirements. All spectators must wear a mask at all times. Outdoor activities will be open to spectators. Social distancing, minimum of 6 feet, must be followed except within household groups. Congregating crowds will be dispersed. Indoor activities, as of right now, will be live streamed and closed to the public. This is the one I really hope is subject to change. So at this point, our NFHS cameras are going to be in full effect this year, because if we were to host a volleyball game right now, we would not be able to allow students or parents to come in. So my hope is that by the time we have indoor sports, we have an environment where we can allow spectators in the gym. That's my hope. Questions about this part? All right, moving on. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Brooke Ray, our athletic trainer, and she's going to talk briefly about the return to play protocols in the event of a positive case. And I do apologize for our imperfect system. Running a show like this is more than a two-man job. Hello. Hi everyone. First of all, I don't know if you all know me, so I wanted to introduce myself briefly. Usually I take this meeting to say who I am, what I do, what my job and my role is at Battle Mountain High School. So kind of forgot about that, put that aside. My name is Brooke, I'm the athletic trainer here. I do work for Vail Health, and then I also teach here at the school. So I have an athletic training facility in the school, but it looks a little different now than it used to. So it is a very small facility, so I'm only able to see athletes by appointment to minimize numbers, and so that I have time for cleaning. So if your athlete does need to see me for an injury, not an illness, an injury, they need to make an appointment with me. You can do that by going to the Hesby Athletics website, and then at the bottom there's a button for athletic trainers, and that's where you will sign up for appointments. There are different buttons for in-season and out-of-season athletes, so I can keep those separate. So please just be mindful of that. There's also a little bit more on there about me. Also my contact information if you want to discuss footwear, nutrition, injuries, orthopedic stuff, or concussions would be further because I'm not doing the part that usually I'll scare all of you with concussions. So basically what I wanted to talk about is what we've been working on. Again, what's going on is changing all the time, every single day. So this is the best I can do, myself and my colleagues that we are collaborating with at Vail Health, to come up with something so that I can try to keep our athletes here. Okay? So, like I said, it's an emerging, rapidly evolving situation. There aren't protocols out there in place that I can say, yeah, we're going to go forth and do this. Research is happening right now, every single day. So there's not a ton of super solid evidence to base this off of. I do have some research posted at the end of this and a resource that you are welcome to click on and read all about it. We're kind of being pioneers and coming up with protocols to do the best we can to keep our athletes playing. So remember, these are flexible guidelines, like everything else, stuff could change. So Gentry, if you want to click on that first link real quick, the blue one. I'm showing you this briefly because this is a living document. This is a rough draft. I think I changed it 5 times today. It is in the works. When it is final, we're trying to get approval by the school district and Vail Health. So we're working to try to have some protocols for different situations. There are a million different situations that exist, such as, people online see it?
It switched, but it's not switching over on there.
Okay. So basically, it's fine. You don't need to read the text. It's a chart. You can just scroll to the bottom real quick. We have symptom status. We have if they have seen a doctor or not, because I consider that a possibility. Do they have underlying medical conditions? So they might have an alternative diagnosis. Your kid has the flu, doesn't mean we're going to treat them as if they were positive, if they were to have tested positive for COVID. Okay? And then in the very end of it, we have columns that basically designate what we will do in those different situations. Okay? Did they test positive? Did they test negative? Did they simply come into contact with somebody who tested positive? So if you think about all the different situations in which our athletes could be putting themselves, we just have to be cautious because we are having our athletes come and be in contact with or close proximity to a whole team. Okay? So we will follow all of the Eagle County School District guidelines as far as school contact tracing and positive testing. There are some stricter regulations though for athletics because a football player in the springtime in contact with an entire football team is going to be in more of a further isolation or quarantine than say a different athlete. It could also depend on severity of symptoms, okay? So just be aware, we're doing the best we can. I want your kids to be playing sports, only if it's not putting them or others at risk. So again, please be mindful, the goal is to keep them playing. In general, if they're homesick for 24 hours, we ask that they first communicate with their coach or myself before returning. That way we can do kind of an informal screening and saying, hey, what's going on? Okay, you ate too much Mexican food, you didn't feel good? I'm not going to say you need to go get a COVID test. I'm a human too, and I understand kids get sick. Okay? There's a difference between a kid was sick and they were home for a couple days, and they may have had symptoms of COVID. So it's up to kind of a lot of different people to figure out which category they go in at this point. Any asymptomatic individuals should contact their doctors and get a COVID test done. So I can't require everyone to go get a test. I understand that. I also understand not everybody who we recommend to get one is going to. So we have to address those situations on a case-by-case basis, treat it accordingly, isolate accordingly, and protect them from themselves and from other athletes accordingly. So again, just remember, kind of situational. Does anybody have a question online?
Yes. Is there any chance you could get closer to the microphone or speak a little louder? I'm having a really hard time hearing you. Thanks, Brooke. It's Gabriella.
You hear me now? Sorry, Gabby. Okay, and again, this is all pending Vail Health Medical, our medical director, my medical director from the Stedman Clinic, some of my colleagues at Howard Head Sports Medicine and Vail Health. This will be going to the school district for approval. And next slide, please. So, kind of like when we talk about concussions, everyone's like, oh, your job is just to scare us. My job isn't just to scare you, it's to educate you and inform you. I get to be the bad guy, so don't throw fruit at me. There is this thing called myocarditis. Some of the research that is current as research can be right now, is demonstrating that there's cardiac involvement in the majority of patients that have had recent COVID illnesses. Okay, some form of cardiac involvement, whether it be inflammatory markers in a blood test, or, I mean, myocarditis basically means something causing cardiac blood vessel dilation. So it can be any number of conditions. Some of the limitations on the research are that this hasn't necessarily been performed in pediatric populations or athletic individuals, because we haven't had time to perform that research, to collect that data, and to turn it into something solid and evidence. But the evidence that is there saying there's cardiac involvement. So there's research that says that people have tested asymptomatic and they still have shown cardiac involvement or myocarditis. So because of this, in general, extra cautions is advisable for the physically active individual. So this is all of our athletes, okay? If they have a pre-existing medical condition, especially a heart condition, these athletes need to take extra caution in returning to activity. If they had symptoms of COVID, if they tested positive for COVID, if they were in contact with an individual who tested positive for COVID, okay? What this includes is what we call a graduated return to play. You may have seen this before. It's very similar to a concussion. However, before the graduated return to play, kind of similar to a concussion, we have to do a phase of isolation. If they have tested positive and they're still symptomatic, that isolation extends to a quarantine. So this shouldn't all be news that isolation and quarantine will exist for individuals who test positive. The graduated return to play that exists thus far is from the British Journal of Sports Medicine. This is going to be linkable on the presentation, so you guys can look at it if you want to. The scary part here is that if you look at stage 5 in the green, that's day 17. That's the majority of an athlete's season. Okay, that includes their isolation, their 10-day isolation, and then a 7-day graduated return to play, in which we progress them back into physical activity. We will be wearing heart rate monitors, and it will be a cardiorespiratory specific graduated exercise progression. So the goal to be finding out if they still have symptoms, if they're not feeling well, to monitor their heart rate. If they do have symptoms or if their symptoms return, we'll send them back to their doctor. Some of the other recommendations that we are putting out is if somebody does have symptoms or does test positive, that their doctors also perform certain cardiac testing. and certain blood testing that can pick up inflammatory markers that might lead to myocarditis. Okay? I don't want everybody to be like, oh, this will never happen to me. I am a realist. I don't want this to happen, but we need to be prepared for if and when it does occur. So just know these guidelines are in place to protect all of our kids and all the teams. Okay, and again, that's all linked, so if you guys want to read more about it, and then if Gentry goes to the next slide. If you want to get your nerd on, like I do, you can read some research that tells you where we're getting all of our protocols and our guidance from. I'm not making it up, I promise. Also, some links to the National Institute of Health and the CDC, where they are also working on research and guidelines. Lots of time, that was a lot in a little bit of time. Does anybody have any questions for me? Online or in the auditorium? Okay, thanks for listening, guys. All right, at this point, any questions? Any general questions about the calendar, about protocols? There are a lot more protocols than what we put up here. We just tried to hit the high points. If something, as you're reading through the links, once you access the spreadsheet or the slideshow, if you have questions about things that you're looking at, feel free to reach out to me via email, call my office. At this point, several people have my cell phone, so call me. Let me know if you have anything like that. Just know that this is new territory. We're all in this together. We're navigating uncharted waters without a compass, kind of without a sail. So we've joked several times in school that our teachers are building the plane as they're flying it. And I feel a little bit like that with athletics too, not nearly as much as I do about our teachers. But in education in general right now, planes are being built while they're in the air. And I really applaud our coaches and our athletes, and I applaud our teachers and our other school administrators for keeping the plane in the air. Our coaches have been great about keeping the morale up on our kids. It was a devastating feeling when the new CHASA calendar came out. I have a junior in high school who plays he's a 3-sport athlete, and football's his jam, and I love football. I love Friday Night Lights, and it was a devastating blow to my heart as a football mom that I couldn't watch my kid play football on Friday nights in the fall. But the athletic director in me says, but we're gonna have a season. We're gonna get to play. And that's what I'm trying to focus on, is that we're gonna have a season and we're gonna get to play. My motto for this year, I've said it many times, I'm preaching. So my motto this year is that of gratitude, acceptance and gratitude. There are a lot of things that are coming at us as educators, as athletic directors, as coaches, as athletes, that are so far beyond our control, right? They're out of our control. So all I can do is accept the things that I cannot change. So that is my goal. I'm going to accept the things that I cannot change, and I'm going to be grateful for any opportunities we get to play. So I've been preaching it to the players, preaching it to the coaches, and now I'm preaching it to the parents. So I do want to thank you all for coming, whether you came online or you came in person. I really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day today. I just wanted to make sure you had an opportunity to see some of the high points and ask questions as they came up. So go Dogs. Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's see faces.
Yeah, good to see you. You too.
PTA is meeting in the cafeteria if you want to hit the PTA meeting as well.
Thank you, Brooke, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.